Okay, so we're going to start out, and I need you guys to get your number corner workbooks and then quietly have a seat in this area in front of the calendar grid. Make sure you guys also have a pencil with you. Careful. There you go. Why don't you just go back right there. Emma, why don't you right there? Right here? Yep. Good place. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is I'm going to select a volunteer first, and the volunteer is going to just come up here, turn over our first calendar marker. We're going to start with Saturday this month because that's when June 1st was. So we're going to turn over the first calendar month and then, or day, and then I'm going to have you guys just sit in silence, and I want you guys to look at the calendar marker and really just be thinking things that you notice, things that you're observing about that particular calendar marker. Okay, Fletcher, why don't you go ahead and flip the first one over. Okay, just think about what you guys notice. And in a few seconds, I'm going to have you guys turn and talk. So be prepared to share something with a partner. Okay, go ahead and turn and talk. Tell an elbow partner, someone next to you, what you notice about this calendar marker.
And the outside is all together. And the purple. The entire thing is 6 by 6. 4 by 6. The entire thing. Oh, that's 6. Yeah. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. You're talking about the
Okay, who has something that they told their elbow partner that they would like to share with the class? Colton.
It is a 4 by 6 array.
Ooh, nice. It's a 4 by 6 array. Isaac?
If you weren't to use the purple, it would be 6 by 6.
If you were not to focus just on the purple, it would be a 6 by 6. Great observation.
The area is 24.
The area of what area? What part?
Like the inside.
The inside of the purple area? Purple
Yes.
shaded part? Okay, so the purple has an area of 24
Square feet.
square feet. Okay. Thank you for that observation. Faith.
The bottom part is a 2 by 6 array.
So if we were to just separate the purple between the white part is a 2 by 6 array. Excellent observation. Yes.
It's a rectangle.
It's a rectangle. The purple shaded area is a rectangle. Okay. So what we're going to talk about next is something that Austin actually brought up. She brought up the word area. Everybody say area.
Area.
Now I know we've talked about this before, and if you remember, we do have our card up here, area, and if you need some visuals here, and then of course here to help kind of trigger your memory. What I want you guys to do right now is I want you guys to do a quick turn and talk again. And this time I want you guys to talk with your elbow partner about what you think area means or what you remember it meaning. Okay?
The inside of the outside of the we said an inside of a figure. Inside of a figure.
Yeah, but say there's like 24.
Okay, who would like to share a couple of predictions? Twinkle.
Inside of a figure.
Oh. Inside of a figure. Okay. Different one maybe? What? Faith?
Mine is too long, so don't write it, but I have an example.
Okay.
For example, like the Clorox wipes. Let's say there's like 24 wipes in the container. And since the 24 wipes are inside of it, that would be area.
Okay, thank you for that example. Does anyone have another prediction of a definition? Anything other than inside of a figure?
Like maybe the inside of a shape.
Okay. How do we find the area? Nazareth.
So you look at the length and width,
What about the length and width? I couldn't hear you.
and you look at it
Okay, has to do with the length and the width. We're on the right track. Okay.
you have to multiply.
Yeah.
Okay, so multiply. So that brings me to our TPR that we'll use, which will be we'll say the product of the length times width. Okay, so when I say area, we'll say the product of the length times width. Okay, let's practice that with me. Area. The product of the length times width. Area. Thank you. Who can tell me, by the way, I know, area. But who can tell me what they remember about the word product, though? We say that is the product of the length times the width. What does product mean?
The answer to a multiplication problem.
Bingo. The answer to a multiplication problem, equation. Okay, awesome. So now what I want you guys to do is we're going to talk about the second calendar marker. In just a minute, I'm going to have another volunteer come up and turn over the second calendar marker. And again, I want you guys to think about some observations about that particular calendar marker. And then also I want you guys to be thinking about some compare and contrasting ideas with the first calendar marker. So how are they similar and how are they different? Jewel, will you flip it over? it around. Thinking about it in your head. Some compare and contrast statements. Things that you think are similar, things that you think are different. Thank you for your eyes up here, everyone. I really see who's actively participating. Thank you. Okay, after you have a thought in your head, go ahead and turn and talk to an elbow partner.
Or I think they have the similar and they are both 6 times 6 I mean square. I think the area is 21. Just not the area. The area is 26. There is 8. The area is 25. Perimeter is 8.
They have different
3 times the
colors.
Oh yeah, the perimeter is 8. Wait, is it the same area?
Yes, it's the same area.
Okay, thank you to those who turned and talked and shared with the partner. I appreciate that. Okay, who would like to share with the class? Faith.
So the green and the purple, they both have like the same bold outlining, but the purple fills all of it and the green fills only 4.
Excellent.
They're both a 6 by 6 array.
They're both, the total grid here is a 6 by 6 array. Okay. Colton.
Mine is kind of like Colton's. But they are both arrays.
Okay. Yes.
They're both arrays in the same place.
The perimeter is 8 square feet
The perimeter of what?
of the green.
Shaded area.
Yeah.
Okay. So the perimeter of the green shaded area is 8
Yes.
feet. Okay. Angelina.
The bottom part is a 2 by 6.
Okay. The bottom part, if you're like excluding it from the bold outline, is a 2 by 6 array. Jaden.
They're both rectangles. Well, the bolded part.
The bolded outline on both of them are rectangles. Austin.
It's green.
It's green
The shaded
versus
purple.
purple. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so what I want you guys to do now is turn to page 69 in your number pointer workbooks. You'll see this page.
Got it. Got it.
And the first thing I want you guys to do is on number 1, I want you guys to just with your pencil shade in the part of this rectangle to match the green region on calendar marker number 2. So on number 1, shade it like how green is shaded on
You have to get like
calendar marker 2.
pencil.
Say that again. With your pencil.
Wait,
Yeah, yeah.
with your pencil on number 1, you shade it how number 1?
No, on calendar marker 2.
Okay, so
How
on
it
number
looks
1.
on calendar marker number 2 is what you're gonna do for number 1 on your page.
It's 4. should get 3.
Okay, so now what I want you guys, after you have shaded that in, I want you guys to turn and talk to a partner about what fraction that represents. So what fraction of the whole rectangle is represented by the green region?
Just the green little.
Yep, versus the whole rectangle.
The entire thing?
The rectangle.
Or just the whole thing? Yeah, I know.
Okay. Did you guys turn and talk though? Make sure you guys turn and talk. Make sure other people around you have someone to talk to. If you're seeing someone not talking, please talk to them. Tell them your thoughts. Okay, and if you have one fraction in mind, I want you guys to be thinking about another fraction too. I know. Talked about this a little bit, equivalent fractions. You can represent this green region with maybe another fraction. Okay, who would like to share? Isaac.
There's 1/6 and 4/24.
So you have two fractions already. You have 1/6 and you have 4/24. Let's talk about the 4/24 first. How many of you guys, that was the first fraction that you thought of? 4/24. Okay. How many of you guys thought of a different fraction first? Okay. So explain how you know that, or explain how you can tell your classmates that this green region compared to the whole rectangle is 4/24. Isaac? How do you see 4/24 on this?
If you count each little square, there's 24 of them, and four of them are shaded in.
Okay, excellent. So if you count within the whole rectangle, there's 24, and Austin mentioned this earlier, there's 24 square units here, right? And out of those 24 square units, there are how many shaded, Isaac?
4.
4. And so that's where our 4/24 come in. Now, you also mentioned 1/6. Can you explain that to me?
I can. And what?
Can you explain 1/6 to me? How you got 1/6?
Okay. So he got 1/6 by taking this 4 and then putting it below it, and then you get 1, 2, and then he kept doing it 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's only 1 out of 6 of those of the side of those.
Okay, so you kind of visually, so we've talked about this before when we're talking about equivalent fractions. How's a different way that we can cut an area, right? And so you cut it into 6 equal parts by cutting a line here and here and across the middle.
Yeah.
So that you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections within the rectangle. And if you were to look at those 6 sections, one of those sections or regions would be colored in. Okay? Thumbs up if you kind of understand or just not seeing how we got it.
Yeah.
Okay?
In a way.
Okay. So if, you know what, I'm going to use my book to kind of show you. So he cut, so if I have my 4 boxes shaded in where the green is, and then he kind of visually cut his picture, his array, into 6 parts. He cut it down across the middle, and he cut it here. So now he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. Do you see the 6 boxes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if you were to take all the other lines away, you can see. And then he has what? How many boxes colored in?
1.
1. 1 out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's how he cut it differently. Right now on your guys' paper, it's cut into 24 little boxes, but he cut it into 6 larger boxes so that there were 4 in each. That's how he knows it's equal. Okay, Colton.
There's also 2 12s.
There's also 2 12s. How did you get that?
So if you cut this in half, you have 2, and then there is 12 sets of 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and only 2 of them are shaded in out of 12.
Okay, so I'm going to do what Colton just described now. I have my 6 here. I'm going to cut them into 12ths now and show you guys what he did. So if you still kept that center line, okay, going across the middle.
How do you... wait. Oh, do you just put it down each line then?
Yep, and then I just did it down each line, kind of how you described. I might have did it a little bit differently.
You did the exact same way.
Yeah? Okay, good. That's how I thought you were describing it. So then I just cut it my 6 in half, so then I drew an extra line in between. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 parts. And 2 of those parts are shaded red. All of these are called equivalent fractions. Say that with me. Equivalent fractions. Okay, so now we just came up with 3 fractions that are equivalent. And what we're going to do next, after you guys actually have done number 2 on your paper, that's where you guys can put 2 fractions that we just discussed. Okay, 2 fractions that we just discussed, you're going to put on in those gray spaces on your paper on number 2. Who can remind me what 2 of, actually, who can remind us of all 3 fractions? Faith.
1 6.
1 6.
2 20. 2 12.
2 12ths.
2 24ths.
No, not 2 24ths.
4
4 24ths. Thank you for the correction. Okay. 1 6, 2 12ths, 4 24ths.
4 24ths.
Okay, after you have 2 of those fractions written down that we just discussed. Okay. Like, say Mrs. Maxwell, class student speaking. What?
She's been in They just called you randomly. They called the wrong number.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Was it another teacher?
No, I think it was Miss Luann calling them.
Oh, Miss Luann. Okay.
I think she was trying to call Miss Draper.
Oh, okay. No worries. Okay, so we're going to direct our attention to the calendar grid observations. We're going to talk about our first calendar marker today. We have the sections area of outline figure, which we talked about. This is that bold line. The area of the colored region, which is what Austin mentioned for the first calendar marker, the color, and possible fractions that we see. So let's look at this first one again. What is the area of the outline figure? Fletcher.
It's not about that, but where's number 2 though?
Right here. Thank you. Okay. Austin then.
24 square units.
24 square units, and I'm just going to write 24 for right now. The area of the colored region. Jaden? What's the area of it? What?
Square feet.
What was the number?
24.
24. It's also 24.
Yeah.
So it's asking the area of this outline area region, this figure, was 24. It's also asking what's the area of the colored. Well, the colored part fills
Is
in
the
the
same.
entire,
So
it's, yeah, it's the same. And the color, everyone?
Purple.
Good job. What are some fractions we can write down here? Actually, you know what? Since we haven't discussed that, just quickly turn and talk. What's a fraction that you see with this shaded region?
24 out of 24 shaded. Basically, hold on. Say 24, 24.
Okay, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to share.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, who would like to share what's a fraction that we can say about this figure? Nazareth.
1/6.
Of this figure? This one. Okay, Jaden.
1 whole.
Ooh, 1 whole.
Of the bold one.
How can we write that as a fraction though?
So 24.
24 over.
Over 24.
Excellent. 24 over 24. And she said also it equals 1 whole. Okay, if we look at the second calendar marker, which is what we were just focusing on, what is the area of the outline figure?
24.
24.
Same.
Who can tell me the area of the colored region?
4.
Fletcher.
4.
4. And everybody the color?
Green. Green.
Okay, and fractions that we discussed. Nazareth. 1/6 is one of them.
4 24ths.
4 24ths. Angelina.
You said Angelina.
2 12ths. Thank you. Okay, excellent. Real quick, what do we notice about all of these numbers? They're a little out of order, so it might be hard to see. Amelia.
I noticed on the bottom numbers a little while ago that 6 plus 6 equals 12 and 12 plus 12 equals 2.
Excellent. She noticed a little while ago that 6 plus 6 is 12, and 12 plus 12 is 24. Okay, so they all kind of go together, right? That's why
They're equivalent.
they're equivalent.
I found another thing. So 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 2 plus 2 is 4.
Bingo. Okay. If I cut 4 in half, I get.
2.
If I cut 2 in half, I get 1. If I cut 24 in half, I get
12.
If I get 12 and half, I get
6.
Okay, excellent. So you guys can see how
It's equivalent.
it's equivalent. Okay, now what I want you guys to do is, well, first let me explain. When we're updating the calendar, and I'm having you guys volunteer to update it, and if you get to the fraction part and you don't feel comfortable writing anything in, you can leave it blank.
Okay.
But the other option would be to consult one of your classmates. So if you feel like, oh, another classmate you could go to and be like, hey, so I was looking at the next calendar marker and I'm struggling with the fractions. Could you help me figure out what fraction the colored region is? And maybe they would have one answer, two answer, three answer, just depends. So you can either leave it blank or you can consult one of your classmates. So two options there. Now what I want you guys to do in just a minute when I say our signal word is you're going to quietly and safely go back to your seats, and I want you guys to do number 3 and number 4. But before you do, there's a word in there that we don't use often, and that's an inequality. So it says, shade in a fraction of the rectangle that is greater than the fraction from calendar marker number 2. Write an inequality statement showing which fraction is greater. So we've done this before, but we haven't necessarily used the term inequality. Does anyone have a clue as to what I mean by that?
Opinion.
An inequality statement to show which is greater.
Drawing.
Like
Drawing. I'm just guessing.
an example?
Not exactly.
A drawing of how to
It
do
uses certain symbols.
time
Like
dividend.
Times y.
Those are operations. No.
The greater than and equal symbols.
The greater than, equal to, or
Equal.
less than symbols. Okay, so that's an inequality statement saying, we'll say 1/2 is greater than
Blah
blank.
blah blah. A fourth.
Okay, 1/3, we'll say. Okay, if you write it out that way with the symbols, that's an inequality statement. Okay, so that's what it means by on number 3 and 4. Number 3 is drawing and writing an inequality statement for greater than this fraction. And then the number 4 is writing one that's less.
Less than that fraction.
Okay, questions?
One.
Can we work with someone?
If you need to work with someone, you can work with someone at your table.
One.
Quietly, please. If you feel like you can independently work, that's acceptable too. Okay, clear?
Clear.
Okay. Area. The product of the length times width. Area. I'm gonna let those two go first, and then when they get back, you two can go. Okay. I have a couple kids already going, and then a couple kids in line. So, remind me again after those 4 come back.
4 are going?
No, 2 and then 2 and then.
2.
Yep.
What you doing? What are you doing, partner? So I was ready to really some of my left hand, but not really.
What did you say no?
Okay, so any reason why your book's not open?
Do we make like our own
I mean, you have choices here. What does it say?
Shade in a fraction of the rectangle that is greater than the fraction from marker 2.
So whatever's greater. So that can mean many different things.
Did I do this correctly?
Hmm?
Did I do this correctly? I took Blake's book.
You what?
I took Blake's book.
On accident?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just trade it. No biggie. Any reason why your book's not open?
Mm-mm.
Okay, Aliana, why don't you go ahead and read it out loud for me?
Shade in a fraction of the rectangle that is greater than the fraction from marker 2 by an
Inequality.
inequality statement showing which fraction is greater.
Okay, so let's first just shade in a fraction that's larger, greater than this. Okay, now what is that fraction showing?
24 out of 8.
Huh?
8 out of 24.
Okay. And now you gotta write, yep, the fraction, and then you gotta write an inequality statement. And what did we say that was?
2 times 1.
Greater than, less than, and equal
Yep.
to.
Right? So what symbol is gonna go here if on the other side it's gonna say 4/24? What's that symbol?
Greater.
Good. Greater than. So Zach, why don't you say the full statement for me? 8/24.
8/24 is more than 4/24.
Good. Instead of saying more than, say
Greater than?
boom. Okay, cool. And then remember, this needs to be, so you got the numerator correct, good, but the denominator, how many squares are there total right here?
Oh.
Good job. Excellent. Can you read that to me?
4/24 is lesser than 6/24.
Good. 4/24 is less than 6/24. Excellent. Okay, what are we doing here? Can you read number 3 to me?
Shading the fraction of the rectangle that is greater than the fraction from marker 2. Write an equality statement showing which fraction is greater.
Good. So what did you color in? What did you shade in?
I accidentally shaded in two 12s.
Okay, show me what you want to shade in. That's greater than calendar marker. But Colton, we're using the rectangle here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So shading means coloring in. See how this is shaded? You need to shade in a fraction larger than this, greater than that. I'll come back. We have a little bit of the line, so hands down for right now. Okay, go ahead and read your inequality statement.
24 out of 24 is greater than 4 out of 24.
Excellent. And what about number 4?
4 out of 24 is greater than 2 out of 24.
Excellent. Nice job. Okay, go ahead and read number 3 for me. Your inequality statement.
4 24ths is less than 8 24ths.
Okay, and I've taught you reading it left to right. So would you read it left to right? Okay.
8 24ths is greater than 4 24ths.
Good. And then number 4.
2 24ths is less than 4 24ths.
Okay, Aldo. Go ahead and read number 3 for me. Read this statement.
7 24ths is greater than 4 24ths.
Nice. Okay, what about this one?
3 24ths is less than 4 24ths.
Okay. What do you got, Austin?
4 24ths is greater than 4 24ths is less than 16.
Okay, the way you said it was correct. However, the symbol.
I know. I can getting mixed up.
Okay, for the now.
Yeah.
Now is the bigger number.
And then 4 24ths is more than 2.
Okay.
24 out of 24 is greater than 12 out of 24. And 2 out of 24. I forgot to write that.
It's okay. 2 24ths is
Is
less than.
less than 14 out of 24. Not 14. Yeah, 14.
I mean, technically your statement is correct, but these fractions right here need to be the same as this calendar marker because you're comparing what you shaded in here with this one. And you're comparing what you shaded here with this one. You're referring back to what we shaded in for calendar marker number 2. So you did 24 24ths is greater than, what's this fraction? I'm working with Emma right now.
2 out of 2 out of 2.
What's this fraction?
So it's technically, to me, it is 2 times 2.
No, how many boxes are shaded in here? 4 out of 24. Right. So that's what it needs to be right here.
Oh.
Yeah, you're comparing what you shaded in to, and you're referring back to this. Yep. There you go. Yep, and that one right here too. Yep.
And then I'm good.
There we go. Good job. What do you need?
It's game free. It's cool.
Yeah, it's recording again.
That's cool.
Okay. Okay, so third graders, once you are finished with number 3 and 4, go ahead and put away quietly your number corner workbooks and line up for recess. If you have not finished number 3 and 4, go ahead and take a few more minutes to finish that up.
Wait, which pages?
On page 69, numbers 3 and 4.